What is up, bros and brats? I'm Inkslasher, and welcome to another episode of Versus. And this episode of Versus is going to be the weirdest, by far the weirdest episode we have ever done. If you followed the channel for a while, you'll know that I don't like comparing weapons that are not in the same class of weapons. For example, if you compare an assault rifle to an SMG, there's certain stats that are just always going to be better on an SMG. Normally, aim down sights time, fire rate, all of these things are just going to be better on an SMG because that's where they perform better. Whereas assault rifles, they'll have damage and range, generally speaking, are better than an SMG, and to compare out of class items like that, it's very, very difficult to make a good comparison. However, today we're not only comparing two different classes of weapons, we're comparing a primary weapon to a secondary weapon. However, you're going to see as I go through this, these weapons are so freaking similar, even down to the numbers. It is insane. It's actually unbelievable when you compare the stats. So I think this is going to be a really good episode of Versus, and I think it's going to be really informative for you guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and let's get into it. By the way, guys, thank you so much for all the support you've shown on this series. The Versus series is by far one of the most popular and most successful series on this channel, and it's all thanks to you guys. So if you enjoy this series, want to see more of it, it would be absolutely fantastic if you could hit that like button. It lets me know that you want to see more of these videos, and I would kind of just be interested to see how many likes this video can get. So all I ask is if you enjoy the video, it would be fantastic if you could hit that like button. But like I said, let's get into the stats for these weapons. So the reason why these two weapons compare so well against each other is because they're both projectile firing weapons. And we don't really have any other projectile firing weapons in the game other than like rocket launchers. So to be able to put these two weapons head to head, you're able to see really which one performs better in which situations. And it ends up being a really great comparison, even though one's a primary weapon and one's a secondary weapon. The first example of this is when we compare the damage profile of the two. So for this one, we're just actually going to leave the numbers out of it because there's no point in talking about them. The Banshee is always going to be a one-shot kill, and the Rift E9 is always going to be a two-shot kill unless someone either has the uplink ball or kinetic armor. Those are the only two situations where this won't be true. So with the Banshee, it obviously has a better damage profile because you're looking at a one-shot kill as opposed to a two-shot kill for the Rift. So the Banshee gets plus 1 point for that. So the reason why this damage profile thing is so good for both of these weapons is because there is no range drop-offs for either of the weapons. Both of them, as far as you can be away from someone, the Banshee will always be a one-shot and the Rift will always be a two-shot. However, a stat that's different is the rates of fire. So the rate of fire for the Banshee is 50 RPM, which is super, super low, but that's kind of to be expected when you're looking at a shotgun that's always going to be a one-hit kill at any range on a map, so the 50 RPM is kind of understandable. So as far as the Rift goes, there is two main ways people look at the fire rate. The first is 512 RPM. That's only accounting for the first and second shot because the Rift is a burst fire pistol that fires two shots. In between that first and second shot, those two fire at 512 RPM relative to each other. However, if you're looking at the overall time to kill, if you add in the burst delay, it says 186 RPM. This is also wrong because it's accounting for that RPM in between the two bullets as well. If you think of the two shots coming out of this weapon as one solid mass and only account for the burst delay, it fires at 110 RPM. The point of me telling you all these numbers is because I know if I didn't, someone would complain about me not telling you one of them, but it doesn't matter. The fire rate is still better in every single circumstance than the Banshees, therefore giving it plus 1 point and tying it up. So this is where things get spooky. Really, really, really weird. And what I mean by this is when we look at the small stats, these two weapons are almost identical. And let me explain. So, for example, the Banshee, it has 6 bullets in a magazine. The Rift E9 has 12 bullets in a magazine, but remember, it takes 2 shots to kill one person. Therefore, if you account for those 2 shots, you can kill 6 people with a magazine of the Rift E9. With the Banshee, you can kill 6 people with a magazine. Exactly the same. On top of that, the amount of shots you start with is 24 for the Banshee, 48 with the Rift E9. Exactly double. You can kill the exact same amount of people with both the Banshee and the Rift E9. So the magazine size and overall bullets exactly the same. The next thing we can look at is movement speed while aiming down sights. By the way, it's incredibly important that with both of these weapons you're always aiming down sights, because if you don't, the projectile actually goes in a completely random direction that you can't really control. So only ever fire from the hip as a last case circumstance when someone's super up close to you. But anyway, the aim down sights movement speed is again exactly the same for both of these weapons at 80%. And guess what? The Rift E9 is the only pistol with that 80% movement speed. The rest of the pistols actually have an 84% movement speed. So clearly they're trying to make it exactly the same as the Banshee. Continuing this, if we look at the reload speeds are almost identical on both of these weapons. With the Rift E9, with bullets still in the magazine, you're looking at 2.45 seconds. With the Banshee, 2.5 seconds. With an empty magazine, 2.95 seconds. With the Banshee, 3.1 seconds. These numbers are almost exactly the same. I'm not giving out any points for that, simply because, for example, when there's bullets still in the magazine for both of them are reloading at almost exactly 2.5 seconds. So almost the exact same reload speeds, which is just odd. And both weapons have the exact same amount of idle sway. One stat that is different, but I'm not going to give out any points for, is the weapon switch time. So the amount of time it takes to switch from the Banshee to another weapon or from the Rift to another weapon. The Rift is 0.3 seconds, the Banshee is 0.4 seconds. This is 100% to be expected because one is a primary weapon, one is a secondary weapon. I'm not giving out any points for that because that's just the difference between a primary weapon and a secondary weapon. It's to be expected, and there's really no points in giving out points for that because most of the time when you're going to be using the Banshee, you're going to be using it all the time. Most of the time when you're using the Rift, you're going to be switching to the Rift and then using it. So there's really no point in giving out points for that. One thing I can give out points for is the aim down sights time. The aim down sights time for the Rift is 0.125 seconds, and for the Banshee, it's 0.25 seconds. So double that of the Rift E9. So therefore, the Rift E9 gets +1 point and takes the lead, and there is no more stats I can give out points for. So as far as number-wise goes, the Rift E9 is a better weapon. But this is the first time ever I'm going against the numbers. I'm saying this is bullshit.
Fuck you, science!
I think the Banshee is a much better weapon. It's not even close. And it comes down to them both being projectile weapons and one taking one bullet to kill, or one blast to kill, whatever you want to call it, and one taking 2 blasts to kill. The reason being is because when you fire that Rift E9, you're not guaranteed to hit both projectiles. With the Banshee, you only have to hit one projectile, and the hardest part about using these weapons is hitting those projectiles, is actually getting them on target, because they take time to travel through the air. And if someone has any lateral movement while you're using the Rift E9, that second shot coming out of your Rift is not going to hit. You're going to hit one shot, and they're not going to die. It's like saying this for an example. Let's say you're using a sniper rifle, and one sniper rifle kills in 1 bullet no matter what, and the other sniper rifle kills in 2 bullets no matter what, but the second sniper rifle has double the fire rate. Which sniper are you going to use? Almost always you are going to use the single shot kill sniper rifle. Reason being, it's easier to hit 1 bullet than it is to hit 2. This is exactly the same with projectiles. It's much easier to hit 1 projectile, which is still hard to hit, than hitting 2 projectiles, which is really hard to hit. So there's a massive difference there that makes using the Banshee, in my opinion, much easier than using the Rift. So guys, for the first time ever, I'm going completely against what the numbers at the top of the screen say. I'm giving the winner to the Banshee. If you're mad at me for this, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm biased, but I think my reasoning is completely sound. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Which weapon do you think is better? Do you like the pistol? Do you like the shotgun? Let me know what you think, and hopefully you can see why comparing these weapons was actually a completely good idea, considering how many of their stats are identical, which is in my mind, a little bit weird when we're looking at 2 completely different classes of weapons. But like I said, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Which one do you prefer more? Or are you like me where you just don't have any of them? Let me know down in the comment section below. Like I said earlier, if you made it this far and enjoyed the video, it would be fantastic if you could leave a like rating. I would really appreciate it. It really helps with the channel. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I upload new Call of Duty videos every single day of the week, and if that sounds like something that interests you, you can hit that subscribe button down below. Check out my Twitch, Twitter down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I love every single one of you, and until next time, guys, peace out. I can fly.